Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery podcast, the place for scrappy entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran and former brick-and-mortar boutique owner who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. If you're new around here, that episode title might have caught you off guard. If you've been with me a while, well, you already know. While I've spent over 2 decades in the retail industry, it was my 7-year stint at an adult novelty company, yes, we sold dildos on the internet, that truly launched me into the world of e-com. When I first joined the team, we were mostly a brick-and-mortar operation with 13 stores around the country. The online side of the business was practically non-existent. We had a white label e-commerce site we barely touched, and whatever sales came in were more of a happy accident from brand recognition than any sort of strategy. Fast forward a year and a half, and we decided to bring e-commerce in-house, and I took over that entire division. At the time, it was just me and a part-time employee who managed the warehouse. I managed all the inventory, the buying, uploading the product, handling customer service, writing the emails, posting on social. I literally did all the things. It wasn't technically my business, but it sure as hell felt like my business. That's why I always say I know what it feels like to be you. I had a lot of report cards and a lot of eyes on me, and because of the kind of products we sold, I also had a lot of obstacles most product-based businesses will never have to face. Shadow bans, ad restrictions, judgmental platforms, and people that didn't want anything to do with us. So we had to get scrappy. We had to focus, and we had to, my favorite saying, double down on what actually worked. That experience shaped the way I approach e-commerce, and today I want to share the biggest business lessons I learned during those 7 years. Whether you're struggling to grow, burning out from trying to do all the things, or just ready to build a business that supports the life you want to live, these are the lessons I want every product-based founder to learn. Let's get into it. Lesson number 1, constraints keep you focused. When you can't do what everyone else is doing, it forces you to cut out the noise and figure out what truly matters. Because of the nature of the products we sold, we were shut out of a lot of marketing channels. We were shadow banned on social media, getting terrible reach. Sometimes we didn't even come up in search. We couldn't run paid social ads, and as I mentioned, there were plenty of other partners and platforms that didn't want to work with us. There were a few times where we tried to figure out how we could get through the firewall of Facebook advertising. We talked to reps there, we looked at what some other people in our industry were doing, and discussed internally what it would take to make that happen. While I wouldn't necessarily call it a complete waste of time because having the clarity was nice, when we finally decided to just focus on controlling the things we could control, we saw a lot more online success. For us, that meant embedding ourselves in our local communities where we had stores, partnerships with influencers and educators in our niche, SEO, Google Ads, and of course, email marketing. And I know you hear me say this all the time, but truly, less is more. When you spend your energy focused on doing more of what you already know works versus trying to chase every new marketing trend, you'll get a lot further faster. If you're currently coming up against constraints, whether it's because you sell a restricted product like CBD or sex toys, or just in terms of time and resources, use that to your advantage. Instead of seeing those limitations as roadblocks, start seeing them as boundaries that point you toward what matters most in your business. Lesson 2, your owned audience is your most valuable asset. We've all heard it before, don't build your business on rented land. Whether it's relying on Instagram for traffic or marketplaces like Etsy and Amazon, this is putting the fate of your business in someone else's hands. That's not to say you shouldn't use these platforms at all. They're convenient, have built-in traffic, and are great for visibility and discovery, until they're not. We've all heard the horror stories of Etsy shops getting shut down for unintentional trademark infringement, brands getting knocked off on Amazon, and losing all reach to your social media audience. And as much as Meta says shadow banning isn't a thing, I'm pretty confident they're lying. I saw firsthand how our content was suppressed, even though I tried so hard to be careful about what we said, what we showed, etc. And if you lost your footprint on these platforms, that's it. You have no access to these people. That's why your owned audience, your email subscribers, and customer records are so important. If you're only building your business on platforms that don't belong to you, you're not building a business. You're building an account. And honestly, this is a classic retail lesson. When I had my brick and mortar boutique, Instagram didn't even exist. I relied on, three things to drive consistent sales: foot traffic, location, but email marketing and good old-fashioned clienteling. I would literally pick up the phone and call customers when something came in that I knew they'd love. I shoot them an email to say, hey, your size is back in stock, want me to hold it for you? That kind of direct connection created loyalty, drove revenue, and it built a real relationship between me and my customers. You don't need social media to be successful. You need a way to reach your people and a reason for them to keep listening. No matter what direction you're going in your business right now, you need to grow an email list. The best time to grow your list was yesterday, but the second best day is today. And look, growing your email list is only half the battle, because if you're not actually emailing these people, if you're not showing up in their inbox, staying top of mind, and giving them a reason to care, they're gonna forget you exist. Your email list isn't just a backup plan in case Instagram ghosts you. It is your most valuable marketing asset, but you have to use it. So that means sending regular campaigns, creating automations that work while you sleep, and most importantly, treating those subscribers like real humans, not just data points on your dashboard. Ultimately, email is the one marketing channel that has continued to perform no matter how much the landscape has changed around it. Lesson 3, old school marketing works. One of the things that surprises people when I talk about that business is how much of our success came from old school marketing. We're talking radio ads, billboards, in-person events, sometimes with a radio DJ there. Yeah, they still do that. Direct mail, and of course, email marketing, which people keep saying is dead, but it's not. Nothing flashy, nothing trendy, nothing you'd go viral for on TikTok. But it worked. And why? Because it was all part of an omni-channel strategy. We weren't trying all the latest things hoping it would work. We were intentionally hitting our customers from every angle like a pinball machine. A little nudge here, a reminder there, another touch point when they least expected it. Each individual tactic or touch point may not have done much on its own, but together they created a customer journey that built trust, brand recognition, and long-term loyalty. It's easy to get lost in the sauce when you're down the rabbit hole of trending sounds and coming up with the most clever subject lines. Fun fact, I don't actually think subject lines are all that important. Your relationship with your customer matters more. Most people see the sender before they see the subject line. Marketing isn't about the individual posts, the perfect call to action, or the latest algorithm hack. It's about consistency across channels. It's about being where your customer is. And honestly, some of the best performing campaigns I see from my clients today still lean on the same boring stuff. Sending a well-timed email, re-engaging past customers with a direct mail piece, showing up in real life at a market or a pop-up. Old school doesn't mean outdated, it means tested, proven, reliable. And when you combine these tried and true tactics with modern tools like automation and segmentation, that's when some of the magic really starts to happen. Lesson number 4, people care more about the outcome than the product. You might think your customer cares about the material, the ingredients, or how long your product took to make. But what they actually care about is what they're going to get from it and how it's going to make them feel. They are not buying a candle because it's hand-poured with coconut wax. They're buying it because it makes their home feel calm and cozy after a long day. They are not buying your jewelry because it's 14 karat gold fill. They're buying it because it makes them feel confident on a first date or polished in a big meeting. They're not buying your planner because of the layout. They're buying it because they hope it will help them finally feel in control of their time. People buy with emotion and justify with logic. That's just how our brains work. Yes, product details matter, but they are the supporting character, not the star of the show. The outcome, the transformation is what sells. The emotion is what makes them buy. And I saw this firsthand every day in that business. We weren't just selling sex toys. We were selling confidence, intimacy, relief, empowerment, excitement. For some, it was just about getting the big O. For others, it was bringing excitement back into their relationship. It was combating loneliness on the road. We had a lot of long-distance truckers as customers. It was feeling sexy and confident in that new piece of lingerie. When we spoke to those outcomes in our marketing, not just the product features, that's when our emails converted. That's when we got the most engagement from the little social media reach that we did get. That's what increased foot traffic in our brick and mortar stores. And it's what kept our customers coming back for more. So the next time you're writing an email, a product page, a social post, ask yourself, am I just describing the product, or am I painting a picture of the life my customer wants and showing them how this product helps them get there? That's what moves people. That's what sells. And that's what will continue to draw people to your brand. Lesson number 5. Small tweaks compound over time. If you take nothing else away from today's conversation, let it be this. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. When you're wearing a million hats in your business, it is so tempting to go looking for the one big change that's going to fix everything. The perfect funnel, the magic ad, the one email strategy the gurus swear by. But more often than not, it's the tiny, consistent improvements that actually make the difference. And this is going to show up in every area of your business, from your back-end operations to your product pages to your email marketing. When I think back to how I generated over $300,000 a year from email in that business, it wasn't one genius idea, some viral moment. It was small tweaks over time, testing different content types, shifting our messaging to focus more on the outcome people wanted, noticing that return requests spiked for a specific product and creating a post-purchase email flow to educate customers on that product and reduce returns. The more you do something, the more you learn and the better you get at it. But here's the part I really want you to hear. Most people never get those results because they never give themselves permission to start. They procrastinate setting up email automations because they think it has to be perfect. Like if they can't build out the entire customer journey from welcome to win back, then it's not even worth trying. But that's not true. Even just starting with one flow or optimizing one email in your welcome sequence, you can make a difference. And then you build from there. And it's not about doing it all at once. It's just about doing it well. Progress compounds, but only if you give yourself the chance to start. Lesson 6, not all customers are created equal. Not every customer or email subscriber is going to turn into a raving loyal fan, and that's okay. Some people will buy once and disappear. Some will join your list, never open an email, and ghost you forever. Some will be loyal for a really long time and randomly drop off. All of this is normal, to be expected, and it's just part of the game. Yes, it's cheaper to keep an existing customer than it is to get a new one. And I'm all for strategic win-back and re-engagement campaigns for a last-ditch effort. But the truth is, the best way to keep an existing customer is to stay consistent and keep them engaged, not expending all of your time and resources trying to hold on to someone who has one foot out the door. If they're not paying attention, they shouldn't be your priority. The more time and energy you put into trying to bring those people back is less time you have to show up for the ones who are already there. Focus on being proactive and keeping people around rather than chasing after them when they signal they want to leave. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Running that business with all its restrictions, limitations, and curveballs taught me what drives sustainable e-commerce growth. Wasn't hacks, wasn't social media trends, and it sure as hell wasn't trying to do all the things for all the people. It was clarity, consistency, and doing the right things better over time. That's what I want for you too, especially when it comes to your email marketing, because whether you're burnt out on social, frustrated with your lack of reach, or just ready to create a system that sells without constant hustle, email is the one channel that will always show up for you. I couldn't have generated the results I did in that job if I didn't get really damn good at email marketing. And I know I've talked a lot about email on this podcast. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you were sick of hearing about it. But also, I kind of hope that my constant harping on it lights a fire under your ass to finally get your automations up and optimized, to get back on track with your weekly campaigns, to stop overthinking it and just start sending, and to remember that it's okay to let other things in your business go if they're not serving you. If you're listening to this in real time, I'd love to invite you to my upcoming free workshop, Emails That Convert. It's happening on June 25th. I haven't done a live workshop like this and my gosh, I can't even remember. So I'm super excited. We're going to cover the number one reason your email flows aren't converting as well as they could be, the shift in your content to ensure you're sending the right email at the right time, and how to get better results from all of your other marketing activities. Plus, I'm going to introduce you to a step-by-step system to build a strategic, conversion-focused email automation suite. So same strategy that generated over $300K in annual revenue back in the day. Ultimately, I want you to feel confident doing less in your marketing and still seeing better results because you've got a solid system working for you 24/7. Head to ecommercebadassery.com/autopilot, AUTOPILOT, to save your seat. And don't forget to tell your biz friends, would love to have you there. And that, my friends, is a wrap on this week's episode. Hopefully you learned a little something from my dildo slinging days, as I like to call them. My guess is it's a bit more tame than you were expecting. But like I always say, business is boring. It's the consistent, monotonous things that help you grow. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling candles, jewelry, or sex toys. It's literally all the same. And on that note, I'm truly done. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to learn more about growing your e-commerce business, get started with my free resource library at ecommercebadassery.com/free stuff and get an invite to the Lounge, my e-commerce marketing membership. When you're ready for one-on-one support, apply to work with me at ecommercebadassery.com/apply. Before you go, would you do me a quick favor? Leave a rating and review and tap that follow button. This pushes me up the chart so I can support more scrappy e-commerce entrepreneurs just like you. I'm on a mission to reach as many as I can, and I could really use your help. Thanks so much in advance. Until next time, e-commerce friend, stay badass.